Um, Imagine for a second that you spend like $2 billion to buy a cutting-edge tech startup.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
Right. And you move all the new engineers into your office, you merge all your proprietary code, you combine your servers, and then, well, out of nowhere, a foreign government steps in and tells you to unbake that cake.
Oh, wow. Good luck with that.
Exactly. Or imagine a world where the AI systems building your software no longer learn from human data, because human knowledge is suddenly viewed as a limited resource.
Welcome to episode 490 of the AI Brief. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a completely new landscape where the most fundamental boundaries of technology are shifting in real time.
Yeah, it's shifting fast.
We're breaking down OpenAI radically rewriting its historic deal with Microsoft, Beijing forcefully blocking that massive acquisition by Meta, and the launch of a staggering new $1.1 billion lab trying to build AI that learns entirely without us. You know, what's truly fascinating about today's developments is the undeniable through line here. We're watching a massive paradigm shift where the old rules simply no longer apply.
Right.
I mean, corporate alliances are being untangled, geopolitical borders are becoming digital walls, and the very foundational methods of how artificial intelligence actually learns they're being completely rewritten.
So let's start with what is happening between OpenAI and Microsoft, because the terms of this relationship have been completely reworked, and it honestly feels like a corporate earthquake.
It really does.
Microsoft's exclusivity over OpenAI's intellectual property is officially over. The highly controversial AGI clause has been entirely killed off, which, well, it frees OpenAI to ship their products on any cloud infrastructure they want.
Yeah, like Amazon Bedrock.
Exactly. But wait, I need to unpack this because it sounds like Microsoft just gave up the golden goose here.
Yeah.
They're not walking away empty-handed though, right?
Definitely not.
Okay, so they keep a revenue share through 2030, and they retain an Azure First launch access through 2032. This new agreement also apparently settles a reported lawsuit threat from Microsoft regarding a $50 billion Amazon OpenAI deal.
Which is massive.
Right. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy just called this announcement very interesting, especially since it follows a memo from OpenAI's chief revenue officer heavily promoting the Bedrock platform.
Yeah, Denise Dresser's memo.
It feels a bit like an X with benefits situation. Microsoft has way less control over OpenAI's daily operations, but they lock in a highly lucrative 6-year revenue stream based on hard calendar dates.
That analogy actually captures the dynamic perfectly. I mean, to understand why this happened, we really have to look at the mechanics of enterprise software.
Okay, lay it out.
Well, the old exclusivity terms were actively suffocating OpenAI's ability to meet massive corporate customers where they already operate. When Dresser circulated that memo, the underlying mechanism she was pointing to was cloud architecture.
Because of AWS, right?
Exactly. If you're a Fortune 500 company, you likely have decades of data and incredibly complex security protocols already built into Amazon Web Services. You aren't going to migrate your entire global infrastructure to Microsoft Azure just to use ChatGPT.
That would be a nightmare.
A total nightmare. So by removing that exclusivity, OpenAI removes the friction. They're no longer forcing companies into a massive migration headache just to access their premium models.
But what about that AGI clause? I've always found that concept wildly confusing from a business standpoint.
Oh, it was a mess.
It basically said that if OpenAI achieved artificial general intelligence, Microsoft's rights would fundamentally change. How do you even put that in a legal contract?
You've hit on exactly why it had to go. It was a nightmare for lawyers and investors.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you legally define a machine that is as smart as a human?
Right, is it a test score?
Or is it a vote by the board of directors? It created a staggering layer of ambiguity. If you're an institutional investor putting billions into OpenAI, you don't want a trapdoor in the contract that triggers based on some subjective philosophical milestone.
That makes total sense.
By killing that clause, business obligations are now tied to a hard calendar. Microsoft knows they get their revenue share until 2030 and early access until 2032. Certainty is always more valuable than a theoretical technological milestone.
That shift from untangling a corporate alliance actually sets us up perfectly for a situation where untangling might be physically impossible. Let's look at Meta and Manus.
This one is wild.
China's National Development and Reform Commission just vetoed Meta's $2 billion acquisition of Manus. Now, Manus is a Singapore-based AI startup, but it has Chinese roots, and Beijing told both companies they must withdraw the deal.
Right.
Meta originally announced this back in December, and Chinese officials opened a probe in January looking into export control rules. Here is where I'm genuinely stuck because the logistics here sound like an absolute nightmare.
They are.
Meta claims the two teams are already deeply integrated at their Singapore office. If you go to the Meta's website right now, it already says now a part of Meta. How do you untangle an AI startup that has already been absorbed into a tech giant?
The short answer is, well, you really can't without causing immense technical damage. This is a massive warning shot for the entire industry.
Really? Just because of the servers and stuff?
It's way more than that. Integrating an AI startup isn't just about moving desks into a new building. It's about merging AWS server instances, intertwining GitHub repositories, cross-pollinating proprietary algorithms, and combining human engineering teams.
The data pipelines are probably fused.
Exactly. To comply with this veto, Meta would essentially have to perform a forensic digital separation, figuring out which specific lines of code or which weights in a neural network belong to which entity. It's an incredibly messy, practically impossible situation.
And it goes beyond just the code, right? I mean, Manus is based in Singapore, which is usually considered a safe, neutral hub for global tech. The fact that Beijing can reach into Singapore and block an American company from acquiring them feels unprecedented.
It signals a fundamental shift in how nations view AI. Beijing is treating human AI talent and software logic as a vital national security asset. They are applying the exact same export control logic to an AI startup that the United States uses to restrict the flow of advanced microchips.
So it's the weaponization of human capital.
Precisely. Furthermore, the geopolitical timing is impossible to ignore here. This order lands just weeks before planned meetings between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in Beijing.
Oh, interesting timing.
Right. With Manus executives reportedly barred from leaving China during this probe, it underscores that borders in the digital age are very real, and human engineers are being heavily restricted from crossing them.
So if human capital and the data those humans produce are getting this locked down, maybe it's time to stop relying on them entirely. That brings us to our third major update.
This is the big one.
Former DeepMind researcher David Silver, the mastermind behind acclaimed models like AlphaGo, AlphaZero, and AlphaProof, has just launched a new London-based lab called Ineffable Intelligence.
Yeah.
They just raised a $1.1 billion seed round. Let that sink in. A seed round over $1 billion, putting their valuation at $5.1 billion, making it the largest in European history.
It's unbelievable.
Their mission is to build an AI that learns from experience instead of training data to make first contact with superintelligence. I need some serious help understanding the mechanics here. Silver wants to skip pre-training and human data altogether.
Yep, completely.
How on earth does an AI learn about the world or solve human problems if we don't feed it any human data?
It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but the mechanism relies on reinforcement learning in simulated environments. Think about how Silver built AlphaGo. They didn't just feed the system thousands of historical human matches.
Oh, right. They let it play itself.
Exactly. They taught the system the rules of Go, and then let it play against itself millions of times. It learned through trial and error, getting a positive reward for winning and a negative reward for losing. Ineffable Intelligence wants to expand that concept to general intelligence.
Go without a game board.
Right. Instead of scraping Wikipedia or Reddit to learn facts, the AI agents spawn in highly complex virtual simulations. They try an action, fail, adjust their parameters, and try again 1 billion times over. They learn the underlying physics and logic of a problem through direct experience, entirely bypassing human biases and limitations.
That brings up the analogy Silver used, which I found fascinating. He framed human-generated data as a kind of fossil fuel. We've scraped the internet, and just like oil, it's a finite resource that is eventually going to run out.
Yeah, we're hitting the data wall.
He compares this new experience-based simulation approach to a renewable fuel. It can just generate synthetic data by experiencing things, learning forever until it hits superintelligence.
That analogy gets to the heart of a growing industry theory that traditional large language models might actually be a dead end. We've heard figures like Jan LeCun championing variations of this view.
Right.
The argument is that LLMs don't possess a true world model. They simply predict the next logical word in a sequence based on the text they've consumed. If you just feed an engine more internet text, it gets better at mimicking reasoning, but it doesn't actually learn to reason.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the fact that investors threw $1.1 billion at ineffable intelligence at the seed stage proves they are betting heavily on this paradigm shift. And other heavy hitters, like AMI Labs and Recursive Superintelligence, are raising massive funds on this exact premise.
Because if you rely on human data, you hit a ceiling.
Exactly. Silver's track record proves that reinforcement learning from scratch works in closed environments. If they can make it work for general intelligence, it would represent a scientific breakthrough on par with discovering a new law of physics.
Moving beyond the major headlines, let's look at everything else happening in the AI landscape today. We'll take a slightly more measured pace as we run through the rest of the day's developments.
Sounds good. So starting with hardware ambitions, there are strong rumors supported by tech analyst Ming-Chi Kuo that OpenAI is actively working to build a native smartphone. They have reportedly partnered with MediaTek, Qualcomm, and Luxshare. The device is expected to run on its own custom operating system where native AI agents entirely replace traditional applications, with production likely slated for 2028.
That's coming up fast.
It is. And this phone would join a growing list of other hardware products currently in development, including a ChatGPT-infused smart speaker, smart glasses, and even a smart lamp.
Wait, let me just pause on that hardware rumor. A phone with no apps. It sounds like you wouldn't open a banking app or a weather app. You would just tell the device your intention, and the on-device agent handles the execution across APIs in the background.
That is the exact vision. And that agentic approach is already bleeding into enterprise software, too. Microsoft Outlook now supports agent mode through Microsoft's Frontier program.
How does that work?
Well, you can instruct Copilot on what you need done, and it will autonomously run your inbox, draft replies, and manage your calendar. It works entirely in the background, but features a dashboard to keep you in the loop, allowing you to review its logic or make adjustments before emails actually go out.
That's huge for productivity.
Definitely. Meanwhile, for creative professionals, Adobe has opened public beta access to its new Firefly AI assistant. This tool allows creators to use natural language prompts to execute complex multi-app Creative Cloud workflows.
Oh, that's going to save so much time.
For sure. And in the realm of video generation, Alibaba has rolled out its state-of-the-art video model called Happy Horse across its platforms, and it has already taken the top spot on the artificial analysis video leaderboard. Also making news, Taylor Swift has filed 3 federal trademarks covering her likeness and voice. She joins actor Matthew McConaughey in taking proactive legal action to prevent the unauthorized use of AI deepfakes.
I feel like we're going to see a lot more of that.
Oh, absolutely. And finally, looking ahead to industry events, the Uncharted AI Safety and Security Summit is set for May 5, focusing heavily on how to operationalize security strategies for enterprise AI adoption.
Great rundown. Let's transition now to practical applications and look at today's trending AI tools. These are the platforms and utilities bringing all of this advanced technology directly into your daily workflows. First up is the Firefly AI assistant we just mentioned, which acts as Adobe's dedicated AI agent. I know a lot of designers get frustrated with AI image generators because you can't easily tweak them once they're done.
Yeah, that's a huge pain point. And that is exactly what makes the Firefly Assistant so valuable. It doesn't just generate a flattened image or a baked video file.
It keeps the layers.
Yes, it builds the project in a way that keeps the layers and elements fully editable. That mechanism is essential for professional creators who need to tweak specific lighting details or adjust a single vector path after the AI does the initial heavy lifting.
For video creation, we have 2 major tools grouped together today, Kling 3.0 and Alibaba's Happy Horse. Kling 3.0 just introduced a brand new 4K mode specifically designed for generating AI videos with cinematic quality, while Happy Horse provides state-of-the-art generation capabilities across the board.
You know, the introduction of native 4K generation elevates standard video production from a novelty to a broadcast-ready tool.
Right.
It allows smaller teams or individual creators to produce highly detailed cinematic footage that previously required massive studio budgets and extensive multi-day server rendering times.
Next on the list is Lovable, which is an AI app-building platform. The big update here is that it is now accessible directly via a mobile app. You can literally generate, test, and build complete software applications from your phone while sitting on the subway.
That's wild.
We also have AI Create, providing open-source AI tools designed to run locally on your device rather than relying on a constant cloud connection.
Running open-source tools directly on your local hardware with AI Create ensures complete data privacy and zero latency because, well, Nothing is pinging a server in California.
Right, it's all right there.
Exactly. While mobile platforms like Lovable signal a major shift from traditional coding to natural language prompting, you don't even need a desktop environment to start developing robust software solutions anymore.
Rounding out the trending tools, we have Orange Slice, which is built to automate tedious and repetitive sales tasks using AI. There is VideoAI.me, a platform for creating videos featuring AI actors that look and sound incredibly real, perfect for corporate training or marketing spots. And finally, Thinking Line, a tool specifically designed to generate AI-powered doodle videos and vector graphics, which is incredibly useful for educational channels.
When you look at this entire rundown of tools from fully localized on-device generation to mobile application building, you see a clear, undeniable trend.
It's all becoming so accessible.
Yes, the technology is moving rapidly out of the heavily restricted research labs and directly into the palm of your hand. It is giving you the power to automate, create, and build complex systems without needing any formal background in computer science.
That brings us to the underlying through line of everything we've discussed today. We started by looking at tech giants untangling their massive corporate alliances and geopolitical boundaries restricting the flow of human talent.
Right.
But then we looked at labs like Ineffable Intelligence, creating superlearners that no longer rely on human data at all, and rumors of smartphones, where AI agents entirely replace traditional apps. We are rapidly approaching a fundamentally new reality, where our technology operates completely independently of human logic, human data, and human limitations. What does that mean for how you will interact with your devices and the world 5 years from now?
It's a profound question.
If you found today's deep dive valuable, please follow the show and share the podcast with a friend to help them stay informed on these massive shifts.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
See you in the next episode.